Hey everyone, welcome to Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD, and today we'll be reviewing and analyzing chapter 349 of My Hero Academia. This was a chill chapter. It was a pretty good setup chapter. There's a lot of pre-exposition that was dropped, so I'm excited to get into it. If this is your first time on this channel, I would really greatly appreciate it if you could like, share, subscribe, help the homie out. But yeah, this is a pretty interesting chapter. So without much further ado, let's get into this review. All right, chapter 349 of My Hero Academia, Battle Flame. So, like I said before in my little intro, this was a pretty interesting chapter. Nothing revolutionary, nothing mind-blowing, except we did get a major drop, and I'm going to talk about that right now. So, well, actually, before I even get into the chapter, first of all, I love the cover, the color panel, the cover, I don't know what to even call it, but there's a panel with Bakugo and Best Girl Mirko, and I don't know how to say this without sounding perverted, but Mirko is looking good. Mirko is looking good. She's looking very best girl. This is what I like to call a spread. If you know, I'm still not the biggest fan of her. I should have looked this up before the review. Her little like clip prosthetic to help her fast. Once again, like I said in my other review, it makes total sense. Like this is what like amputee runners use and stuff like that. Also, her gauntlet looks amazing in this. It's great to see it colored, and I was thinking like it was like a Vi fist from like League of Legends, but like I don't even see fingers, so I like or at least what I thought were the fingers looked like little like maybe guns on it. So I'm very excited to see when that will eventually come into play. So anyway, let's actually just jump into this chapter, right? So we start off this chapter where we left off last time with, you know, Deku fleeing the scene from Toga and leaving it in the hands of Okaku and Froppy, right? And so he is hightailing it to I believe Troy, or is it UA? Troy, UA, whatever the floating stronghold is, right? And he basically does not have enough speed. He's using float to levitate, using Fajin for power, which by the way, to this day, I still don't like Fajin. I kind of understand more of how it works, but like, it's just going to be one of those things that bothers me. It just seems like a kind of discounted all for one and some kind of way to circumnavigate not being able to handle 100% foe like all for one, which I would have just really preferred if the mangaka allowed Deku to master utilizing 100%. It just seems really weird how All Might, who was quirkless, just somehow, some way was just able to wield this great power without the same ramifications that Deku is experiencing. But you know, at least we kind of offset it with the fact that Deku gets like all these quirks. Don't really like it, but whatever, that's neither here nor there. So he's using float, he's using Fajin, and then he's using air force to propel himself, right? He doesn't have any, he's over the ocean or a large body of water, it seems, so he's not able to use Black Whip to attach to anything, which I personally, like, I don't know, I feel like Deku's not being clever, because I personally feel like maybe you could make the Black Whips a little wide at the base, at the tips of them, and you could just kind of turn them into like are they called flippers, whatever, you know, divers use, the fins, the fins, the flippers, those things, like use those and just kind of like paddle and propel yourself even further, right? So he's thinking of potentially using Fajin in order to do a foe 100% and get himself there faster. And that's when the spirit, the vestige of the second quirk holder appears to him, and he's like, "Ayo fam, chill, don't you know that like." So Deku decides to use, you know, 100% foe, one for all, in order to propel himself faster to get to the you know, the stronghold a lot quicker, right? And he's immediately stopped by the vestige, the spirit of the second quirk holder, right? And so he's like, he brings attention to the fact that, hey, Deku, like, don't forget, like, you have a whole battle to go. Now is now the time to be, you know, putting strain on your body using this technique, as well as the fact that you have to remember Deku's rocking a prototype right now. Like, this isn't the best work of I forget her name in the moment. Not Himiko. Yeah, Himiko Toga is someone else. The one that builds stuff for them, right? I can't believe I forgot her name because I love that girl. But this isn't her best work. It's just something she put together really quick. So he's like, you're gonna damage your gear, you're gonna tire yourself out, and so you're gonna arrive at the fight, you know, too weary, too fatigued to fight, right? And so then he's like, all this anxiety and all like this pressure is making you make terrible, bad decisions. So I'm glad like that was brought up. So another thing, and this is the big reveal I was talking about earlier in my intro, he says, have you tried using my meta quirk? And I was like, what? Actually, specifically, what was the name of the quirk? The quirk was, he asked him, have you tried using my... All right, this meta ability. And so like, we're not talking about Facebook. We're not talking about like, you know, virtual reality, or at least I don't think so. When I think meta, I'm thinking something kind of, I want to say reality warping. Like whenever I think meta, I'm thinking about like, the first person that comes to mind when I ever think meta is Deadpool. Like Deadpool was the first time ever I learned like what it means to be meta, and that's like self-aware within the context of what you are. And like Deadpool, for those of you that don't know, is completely aware that he's a comic book character, which grants him the ability of hyper sanity. Everyone thinks Deadpool is stupid, crazy, yada yada yada, but he's actually hyper sane, and he's the only one cognizant of the fact that he is in a comic book. Sometimes he talks to the reader. I think in some instances, in some issues, you know, he'll break off like the panel border and use it to fight, and a bunch of other like weird quirky abilities, right? And so I'm wondering if it's going to be that sort of thing. So we had this, if you guys remember from my other video, we had a moment with Star and Stripe where I said this power is actually kind of nutty and unlike anything we've ever seen before. Because when we were dealing with Star and Stripe, I was like, this ability is hacks. Like all the abilities before kind of affected you, the environment and whatnot, but this, her ability, New World Order, was like affecting like the laws of physics. Like it was on some like almost like celestial kind of higher power kind of type deal where she can just change the rules of like reality and stuff like that. And I'm kind of getting the feeling, I'm kind of getting the idea that this meta ability might be something that touches on that. I was reading some of the comments and some of them sounded really salty, but even though they did sound salty, I did kind of understand where they were coming from. Like one comment that kind of, I don't want to say rubbed me the wrong way, but like kind of rubbed me the right way was like, so essentially this meta ability is going to be able to do whatever the mangaka needs it to do in order to help Deku win. And I was like, yeah. And it's really hard thinking like that when you're talking about manga and anime, because at the end of the day, everything is plot. Everything is a plot device. Yes, MCs have armor. The job of the mangaka is to kind of lessen that feeling, and like, because we get it. Like for the most part, 9.9 out of 10 times, the mangaka, the hero, I mean, the MC is going to win. We know he's going to win. What makes the story interesting is the plot, how he wins, us trying to figure out like, you know, he's down and out. This opponent is way too strong for him. We know all his abilities, and based upon knowing all his abilities, we know like what he can and can't do. And in this situation, there doesn't seem like anything he can do. That's what gets the fandom off. That's what gets us excited and hype. And so when you have this secret quirk ability, it's kind of annoying, especially now that we're in the end game. Because when you're in the end game, you kind of want all your cards on the table, and that way, like, those are the stakes. And then maybe, you know, you pull out something randomly, or you think of something, you think of using something creatively or something of that nature. I'm rambling, but I think you guys get the general gist. And so I'm just kind of nervous it's going to be a situation where things aren't working out. He's losing. He's supposed to lose, and then he uses meta ability, and like he can just, I don't know, possibly just screw with the laws of like nature and physics, and just somehow, I don't know. I'm nervous. I'm going to wait for it to, like, I say this all the time. Don't flip out. You have to wait and find out what happens. Like when I first found out, like in Doctor Strange, that the stuff about the Medusas, I was like, before I flip out, I'm gonna give my first immediate reaction, but I'm gonna follow up. To be real with you, I'm not really liking this whole multiple quirks thing with Deku, because I'm really having trouble understanding why All Might didn't use it. The easiest headcanon to explain is he didn't need to use it. He was so proficient in the base one for all. But then it kind of makes Deku sound like a bum that he like can't utilize it to that degree as well. I don't like scapegoat like explanations like, oh, just All Might was better suited for the like I mean, I'll take it because I have to, but that doesn't make me happy. But yeah, guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Let me know what you think this meta ability is going to be, how strong it's going to be, what its power is. I really do think it's going to be something along the lines of maybe being able to change probability, alter reality, change some stuff, right? But who knows? Maybe he might be able to like read minds, or like I don't know. But like when I hear meta, there's a certain power set niche that comes to mind. Anyway, after this, we move on to Himiko, Okaku, Himiko, and Froppy, right? And Himiko's annoyed. She's like, even though I love you guys, I'm gonna kill you guys. And I love Froppy, because Froppy this entire time is like just happy that Deku is out of here. He's going to complete his mission. Also, she's happy that Deku's gone, because once she knows that he wouldn't have been able to handle like this awkwardness of like confession and feelings, and also she personally isn't fucking with these like she's like, this whole thing is awkward, like I don't see, it doesn't have any place here. And like honestly, she's being meta. Like she's like, what's going on right now? This seems like a shonen trope. So it's revealed to us that Himiko is going to finally use Twice's quirk ability. Honestly, I'm gonna be super real with you guys. This is honestly one of the top fights I've wanted to see. I know that like you would think it would be so many other fights like the Dabi fight, but like I'm just curious. I have this big theory about Himiko being able to use not only Twice's quirk to make clones of herself, but the clones that she makes of herself also retaining her original quirk, and then being able to, on top of having the clones out, each clone being able to take on a different quirk. I think that would be disgustingly nutty. So I'm hyped to see that. I'm hyped to see, I know she already has a bunch of class 1A's abilities. I'm sure she has some abilities we haven't seen before, so I can't wait to see the culmination of all of that. Moving on to the last section of this chapter, we have the Dabi fight, and it looks like it's I thought Endeavor was here, but he's not here for whatever reason. But we have Dabi versus Shoto and 3 of Endeavor's sidekicks. We have one named, what is it, Kiba? What's his name? Hito, Onima, and Burnin, right? And so when we move off to the scene, oh, and Endeavor's there too, but I don't think Endeavor's going to be able to help. So when we get to this scene, the entire scene, everything we see, the entire environment is just awash, bathed in flames, just fire everywhere. You see the All Might statue, which by the way we've been seeing so much of, so I wonder why the mangaka keeps shoving that in our face, if it's going to have any significance, if it's just simply supposed to be a symbol. But we just see the entire battle stage in just intense heat. Heat so intense that the sidekicks are worried about each other, right? Or at least one of them is worried about another. But I figure if you guys are sidekicks of Endeavor, you guys should be used to like being around this level of heat, even though apparently, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, I believe Dabi's fire is the hottest. I know that Endeavor has the Hell Flame or whatever, but like it seems like Dabi is able to more consistently output intense heat, and I'm really curious to hear about that. Also, his fire is typically blue, right? Which is, you know, one of the hottest fire levels. I think the only thing hotter than blue fire is white fire, right? And at that point, you're almost approaching like plasma. So, yeah, they're matched up against them. And I'm very curious about the powers of, I think we've seen Burning before, but I don't think I've ever seen the abilities of Kido and Onima, as they're called. And something about this, like these set of panels that really intrigue me, is the fact that there's always this saying that like you're always the villain of someone else's story. And I see that to be so true in this moment, because, you know, like these sidekicks seem to like have mad infinite love and respect for Endeavor, even to the fact where they call him Old Man Endeavor, that like just like old timer, whatever. Like they have all these funny quirky names for him, and you can tell that they have this like really nice unique relationship with Endeavor. And honestly, I'm not even like, I don't have any skin in the game, and I'm annoyed for like Dabi, I'm annoyed for Shoto, right? Because it's like, you've treated your family so terrible, and you've been such a bad person to your family, but like, look at these guys. They love you, they admire you, they're willing to fight your battles for you. They even say they don't care that it's a family matter, that like Endeavor told them like to be here, so that they're here. Like they're just the ultimate loyal ride or die sidekicks. And so that's crazy to me. And then you have Shoto, who's like, I'm not doing this for my dad at all. I'm personally choosing to be here. I want to fight you. I want to stop you. That's why I'm here. And I think it's kind of funny how Dabi's like, you don't see how that makes you even more of Endeavor's puppet. And once again, I don't agree with that. We saw like, I think 2 or 3 chapters ago, when we were talking about like, long story short, we can tell that Shoto doesn't really have animosity towards Dabi. I think it's just feelings of sympathy, feelings of sadness. I think he just really wants his brother back. Like that part where he was like, I want to like have Udon with him, I think really puts in perspective where he is mentally and what this fight means to him. This fight isn't putting down Dabi, killing Dabi, getting Dabi arrested. It's trying to calm down Dabi, trying to understand why he's like this, and trying to see if it's too late at all to get his brother back. And that is just something that is super deep to me. And so it appears that we are going to get yet another Dabi flashback. I didn't really think we necessarily got one. I kind of thought that the last one we got, where we found out that he was training so hard, you know, to get his fire hotter, and that like it was endangering him and hurting him like that, and then like he got cast out, that's what made Dabi. So I'm wondering if we're gonna get a little bit more. Also, can I just say that his face disgusts me, and not in like a rude way, just in like, Jesus Christ, like, can you please stop? Like, can you imagine someone using an ability that like simultaneously is like just destroying them, and you can see it happening? You're like, dude, please, like, stop, like, stop. You don't need to do this. It is like destroying you right now. And like, and this last panel, it's like the worst we've ever seen. And I can't tell if it's because like we're getting this really close-up image of him, or if actually like he's getting worse. Like, I think the worst case scenario in this fight like isn't Dabi winning or Shoto winning or like losing or any of that. I think that it's like this fight killing Dabi, like Dabi killing himself. Like this fight and like the level of heat and all and attacks that Dabi uses is going to act like a double-edged sword and honestly just kill him. And then Shoto has to like live and deal with that. I really hope it doesn't come to that, but I have a feeling, I just have a feeling that this is going to be one of those things where even if Dabi does like change his colors, change his stance at the end, it'll be too late. He's done irreversible damage to himself. I'm very curious if the flashback will talk more about like just how he just became this mutilated, how his pain tolerance has reached this level where he just doesn't care, and he can just burn himself to burn just all his epidermis to the point where we're legitimately seeing like muscles underneath. Like, oh, being able to see his like, what's it called, his masseter, that is creepy as hell to me. But anyway, I'm gonna leave the review there for now. Like I said, I think it's a bit of pre-exposition. For next chapter, we're gonna get a lot of exposition. It was a lot of setup, so that's cool. Nothing too special happened here. I think the biggest reveal once again is the meta thing. We're gonna get some flashback, and we're also gonna get to finally see Himiko using the twice blood and making clones of herself. And fingers crossed, I really think this is gonna be one freaking OP disgusting ability if it works out in the end. We're gonna have multiple psychopathic Himikos, possibly with other people's abilities, and I am here for it. Anyway, I hope you guys liked the review. Thank you for tuning in to Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Take care.